Uh-oh. This has gone astray.
Oh no!
All right.
Pause. Well, it's actually okay for now.
All right. Oh! Jinx it. A reservation, that is.
Yeah.
But,
Oh no!
I'm not allowed to wear this because it makes the microphones clink.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Notier's Frontiers Diaries. In the last episode, we were having some troubles with the motorcycle yet once again.
Dun, dun, dun.
We were in Boise, Idaho, but things turned out really good for us, and the guys at the Edge were able to fix the bike in Salt Lake City. And so we were staying with our friend Emiliano, who we had met in Africa, in South Africa. Then we traveled with him.
Namibia.
Yeah, we saw him in Namibia, in the capital city.
Yeah.
Then we saw him on the road in Botswana, traveled all through Botswana with him, and into Malawi as well.
That looked like it moved for a second. No. That's what I got. Not as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
He's just super great.
Cool kid and fun to ride with.
Yeah, and he has a girlfriend who likes to ride two up with him on the motorcycle,
That he
Melissa,
met
in Africa.
yeah, Canadian abroad.
Yeah, in Rwanda they met. They got stuck over during the pandemic as well, so we were in constant contact, you know, being Americans stuck in Africa, and it was a good place to get stuck, definitely.
Yeah, I'm glad we got stuck in Uganda and Kenya.
Yeah,
You
me
know,
too.
Rwanda was awesome. When we stayed at the place that Emiliano was held up at, St. John's Wort. Something.
Not St. John's Wort, but something like that. So when the borders all closed around us, he was stuck in a different country. He was stuck in Rwanda. We were stuck in Uganda. And so we weren't able to meet up at all. But he eventually flew back to the United States, and we eventually flew back with our motorcycle to the United States.
And he was in the paradise of the states, in my opinion, in Utah. So
Yes.
all the stars had aligned, and we got to reunite with our good friend. I had previously called him and told him that I didn't think I was going to be able to do what we had hoped to do, which was to travel through Moab, you know, riding. He's got a Tiger, and his girlfriend rides on the back, and so it was going to be, you know, two up,
So
little
perfect.
party of everybody, and I had to cancel it because the bike sucked. But then the Edge did their magic for the 10th time in their existence with us. And so, like a little schoolgirl, they call Emiliano. It's like, I can go play. They said I can go. So
we had just enough time, and he had just enough time from work to be able to take a weekend. Yeah, you know, he is a normal person. And so we were able to take that weekend and go to one of our favorite places in the whole world, Moab.
yeah.
Moab is kind of like an off-roader's paradise. It has all sorts of trails all around it. It's a town in Utah that's really famous for being close to two national parks.
Yeah.
There's Arches and there's Canyonlands.
Yeah.
It's also not that far from Capitol Reef.
Exactly.
It's not that far from Zion. Like, that whole area is amazing.
No, it's just, I mean, we, way back when anybody has ever read our little maiden voyage book, but we stayed in Arches, we stayed in Devil's Garden.
Yeah. And
all
it
the
was
way
hot.
at the end. It was very, very hot. And, uh-oh, this has gone astray.
Oh, no.
All right.
Pause. Well, it's actually okay for now.
All right. Oh! Jinx it.
The last time we were in Moab, it was hot. You know, it's very deserty out there, very dry. Just in my head, I envisioned like, oh, this is going to be desert. It's going to be hot and dry, and that's going to be the weather that we'll find when we get there. So we didn't check the weather. We just assumed that's what it would be, sunny. And Emiliano wanted to go on this off-road right outside of Moab.
yeah.
He kind of wanted to take it there for about an hour or so to get to Moab. We knew that's something that he's interested in.
There's a geyser out there, right?
Yes, there was a geyser. It was so cool.
Or a hot spring. I don't know what it was. It was constantly going off, so...
I think it was a geyser. It was weird, though, because someone had built, like, a concrete... It almost looked like it was a fountain.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, it wasn't the most romantic one. It was cool because it was out in the middle of nowhere, and it was pretty, and it, you know, kind of went down some little shelves into the river down there. But like what it was it looked like a chimney with like a little pipe smokestack coming out of it, and then the water came out, and I was like, there's about a million different ways of making this look more natural and beautiful, but a chimney with a pipe.
I'm assuming it was like that for a reason. Maybe people were putting things into the hole. I don't know. But, or maybe animals were getting stuck in it. Because it wasn't so hot, right? There were even like kids playing in it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Usually these geysers can be like extremely hot.
This was not the scalding fall into it and perish.
Pit of acid.
Yeah.
No, this was like a really tame version, which was nice.
Yeah, and the road there, it was
around.
cool. It was, you know, it was good off-road riding, fun scenery, you know, not too difficult, but, you know, two of us together riding with our lady loves. It was good. It was fun.
And we thought, oh, this is going to be perfect.
Yeah. So after our little geyser stop, we wanted to head further into the off-road section. I didn't know where the heck we were going, but I was along for the ride. I was down. And there's these little rock formations that make like a...
kind of like a slope, like a skateboarder's like bank.
Like a little embankment.
Yeah.
You know, like how in NASCAR it embanks around. But, you know, people on dirt bikes and stuff will and have fun and, you know.
Yeah, you can see their tire tracks and stuff.
And I mean, I was like, hey, have you ever done that? You know, and I was like, what in your mind of ever knowing me would make you think that that's something that I either have done or ever will do?
I mean, maybe if you have like an ATV or something.
No,
you know,
a dirt bike, it's
dirt
fun.
Bike, yeah, exactly.
Two up, overloaded with, you know, a dying horse that my KTM was at that time. No, I'm not doing. So we sadly, I don't know if that puts my adventure spirit down a notch in your eyes, but I
mean,
skipped out.
I think Emiliano wanted to.
And he could have, and that would have been awesome.
He probably could have, but we didn't want anyone like breaking their legs or something.
This is true.
Especially this early into the weekend.
And
maybe later on Sunday or something.
Yeah, and some of the riding was getting a little difficult. It was getting fun difficult, not like this sucks difficult, but you know, going down steep things over dry river beds and then back up. And, you know, some challenging stuff, but like hey, this is cool and it feels like we're on the moon type stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely sandy out there. That's one thing Moab has is sand.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful and it's great terrain, but it can also be tricky with the motorcycle if it gets too deep out of nowhere.
And a lot of this was loose rock and stuff. And just rock, you know.
Yeah.
And I love that. Like my tires can bite into it. I don't even care if it's shelves, like stairs, there's traction available. Sand is awful. And there were some sandy spots, but most of it was up and down of just gravel and actual rock, not even, you know, stones and gravel, but earth bed? Bedrock.
Bedrock, there you go.
Bed.
Earth bed.
Yes. And so yeah, we were having a great time.
Yeah, I thought, let's do this all the way to
Oh
Moab,
yeah, for
you know?
sure. But then we looked in the distance, and it was like the cover of The Mummy, you know? It was this sandstorm of certain doom.
I was like, oh, maybe we'll miss it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's over there, and we're
way
going
over
that
there.
way, so this is cool.
Yeah, but I kept looking at it, and I'm like, oh, you know.
And the
it's
face
just...
of the mummy got closer and closer, and we're like, oh man, this is gonna hit us, and this is gonna suck.
And then all of a sudden, like before it even got to us, the wind picked up like crazy.
Yeah.
The mummy returns!
Emiliano was in front, and we went to go kind of pull up next to him and talk about directions and where to go from there.
Like the let's bail, because it was difficult, right? But it was
Yeah.
fun difficult, but then like the front of the storm is where the wind started hitting us like really bad, and the really difficult stuff with, you know, large gusts of wind and then sand starting to get in the eyes.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, this is fun and stuff, but I'm not riding into the center of
Right.
that, and like, because that
Besides
looks like
just
it
the
sucks.
wind and the sand, like if it started raining,
Yeah,
there could have been a
all that-
lot of flash flooding, like every little gully that
No,
we
for
needed
sure.
to go through, and there was nobody out there.
There's flash flooding, but then when all that sand and muddy stuff gets, the difficult fun then turns into this as a pain in the ass, and not nearly as fun.
Yeah.
But so Emiliano stopped at a T in the road, and you know we were gonna go left, and I just pulled up next to him, and I was just like, and he was like, "Oh my God, there's the wind!"
It
and
was
I'm
like
"Oh."
gusts, like
Yeah,
you
and
could
just
see it, just
sand.
like sweeping the ground full of sand in these gusts.
Just like, you know, when it's raining and you can see the sheets of rain, there was like sheets of sand
Yes.
that you could see. And I always have my visor open, which is not highly recommended because in case of a fall or something, the windshield can smack
Yeah.
debris do you.
But also for sandstorms.
but for sandstorms, yeah. But I always have my Tom Cruise little visor thing that I can put down.
Yeah.
But yeah, my teeth were full of
Yeah.
grit, and I was just like, dude.
Even me, like I kept my visor down the whole time, but you hear it like,
Yeah.
like just hitting your helmet, and it also got in my teeth. Like it just gets everywhere, and that wind was very, very forceful. It wasn't like that constant Argentina wind. It wasn't like the
Yeah. It was the
wind we hit
battering.
in
It was like
Idaho.
Argentinian wind, and then when you pass a truck, and like
Yes.
you don't know what's going to happen. Like, are you going to get sucked into the truck because you know whatever
Yeah.
force of nature that is, or is it going to completely go away? And so I'm always just bracing
Yeah.
against the wind.
It was madness, and we
It was.
decided, let's go on the highway
Yeah, which-
to Moab.
Also kind of sucked because
Yes.
like it's just now you're, you know, I mean you could do 80 if you wanted to. We were going a little bit slower. Like
But the other traffic was going really fast.
Well,
they can deal with it better than we
they
can.
can, but they were even going a little bit slower because the wind was that nuts.
Yeah. And then
And it's like dark and crosswind
like you
of
enter
sand.
it. It's just like Return of the Mummy, or
Or The
you know,
Mummy
or just the
Returns.
or one of those
Or
mummy
the original.
movies.
They made like 5 and it was just like all of them.
It was like all
Yeah.
of them.
I was
When-
Tom Cruise. That was the latest one. And you're that hot girl. That hot.
It was that Tom Cruise was not in any of them.
Sure he is.
I think Dwayne Johnson was in it.
No. He was in the first
he
one.
was.
That one
Yeah,
was
totally.
awful. But Tom Cruise was in the latest one.
Well, anyway.
This is not important.
We entered the
leave in
sandstorm.
the comments below if you think Tom Cruise is in it, because I know he was, and you're wrong.
So.
He totally was.
No, I don't
Moving
think
on.
so. But it became very dark once you enter that sandstorm, and we had to cross it. And I was hoping, all right, we cross it. Once inside, it's going to be less windy. It'll just be kind of like this.
The eye of the hurricane.
Exactly, just like sand in the air, but it won't be able to be so windy.
No,
and
it
then
sucks.
we'll be okay. We'll be out of it eventually. But that's not what happened. We passed into it, and it was even more windy inside of it.
And it was dark.
It was dark.
Like everybody was putting their headlights on. I mean, it was noon or 1 or something
Yeah.
like that. It was.
We were being tossed around the road
Yeah, it
like
was
little
poopy.
toys. It was really bad. And then it kind of dissipated. We left it, and I was like, oh, thank goodness we're out of the storm. And then we crossed it again.
Yeah.
And that happened 2 more
Mummy
times.
Returns.
Yes. Too many sequels.
Yeah.
It was like we'd see this wall of sand in front of us and just be like, all right, here we go again. We're going to hit it again.
Yeah.
And I was just
It's just
hoping, like, when are we going to get out of
breaking the sound
this?
barrier. You know, I mean, you're just.
Yes.
You know, it's just. Ah!
That was crazy. I'd never in my life seen a sandstorm that
Yeah,
intense.
I mean, it was like something out of the movies or something out of like Saudi Arabia or someplace I've never been. Like this just wall.
Like,
of-
I thought it was just CGI.
Yeah,
I didn't think
like
that
old
was
movies
real.
about the Dust Bowl and it's really crappy like CGI.
Yeah, but Emiliano and Melissa were troopers. Emiliano
Yeah.
did really well, and Melissa just hung in there, just like me. We were like, you know, just bracing against it. And eventually we got to the town of Moab.
Oh
no! This tape is terrible.
Yes.
So once we got into Moab, we really needed kind of like a refuge. We
Yeah.
felt very battered.
It just started to rain
It started
as we just pulled in.
raining, and it was cold, and we were really worn out. And so we were just hoping we could find some place that was a shelter from all of the elements. And lo and behold,
So again, I don't know if anybody's read Maiden Voyage, but when we camped in Devil's Garden, it was a bazillion and 8 degrees, and we were like, you just don't hang out in that weather.
Right.
So we were looking for refuge when it was that hot years and years and years ago,
yeah.
and we went to Denny's,
Denny's.
which is awesome. And, you know, we just hung out there like we were 17, ordering
just
coffee.
drank all the water.
Yeah.
We were so thirsty and hot.
And so this time I had a flashback, a memory, and they're like, where can we go? And I was like, there's a Denny's up on
Yep.
the right. I don't know where, but it's on the right side of the road. And
So we pull up to it, and it had a sign that said closed.
because
I was
the
like,
2 cooks
"Wow."
quit or something, and there was a
Right.
woman, and I was like, I don't want food. I just want coffee and shelter from,
The door
elements.
was open because apparently these cooks had just quit.
Yeah.
And so she said, yeah, come on in. We
Sure,
got coffee. And so that was really nice of them
Yeah.
to help out.
And I asked her if there was anywhere to camp, and she
Gave us some recommendations.
gave us some
around the
recommendations
area,
around Potash and around some
which is
some
a
different areas.
road that goes near the Colorado River.
But I wasn't too excited to camp because it's now raining. It was windy as hell.
Yeah.
It was cold, and I was like, man, let's just stay at
At a hotel, like the cheapest one. So we started Googling. Like,
everybody. There's 4 of us. We're all Googling, and it's like $130. You know,
person. It's so bad. Yeah.
insane. Like not to the point of let's just take a hit and
Yeah.
do it, because I was not going to spend $200 to spend the night, and so.
So we thought, well, we are in the land of open spaces and there's lots of campgrounds all over. We've got to be able to find something.
Yeah.
So the storm did more or less pass.
Yes.
It was still quite cloudy and a little bit chilly, but the rain stopped and the winds had stopped. And so we got back on the motorcycles after having lots of coffee and warm tea.
Yes.
It was wonderful.
It was amazing.
And we headed off down Potash Road.
Potash. I call it potash.
I think it's potash.
It
I don't
is
know.
potash.
I like saying potash.
I think that's cool. You go with that. Potash.
Potash. I think that sounds cool, but I don't think that's what it is. It's
potash.
It's a mineral that they use for like fertilizer and stuff, and they mine it there. And that road is really beautiful. It goes along the Colorado River.
Yeah. And there were petroglyphs on the cliff. And
well, we love petroglyphs.
Oh, I'm a big fan of petroglyphs.
They're so cool. So these are Native American petroglyphs and quite old, some of them.
Yeah. They look like Rosie the Robot, like the square head with like the stick figure arms. And so we stopped and we took a bunch of pictures there. And then we kept going. Now, the weird thing about wild camping in the States or in Moab, that we weren't used to from like South America or like, Africa, wild camping was a little bit more difficult, but we did find some in Tanzania and South Africa and Lesotho.
Yeah.
But here they have like this little map that is public land, BML or BLM land. And like they really want you to camp in designated campgrounds.
Yeah, I mean, Moab is so popular that if everyone was just allowed to camp wherever, it would destroy the environment.
Yeah.
And it's a very delicate ecosystem. So I completely understand. And we wanted to stick to the rules as much as we could.
And there was
not, just camp in a random spot. We wanted it to be a designated campground.
And we were looking on iOverlander, and there was a campground past the sign where it said, "Don't camp here."
Yeah.
And I just had a moral dilemma. Like, I just didn't want to break any rules, get any stupid ticket. Like, we were having a great time.
Right.
And so we turned around, and once we got to the beginning of the off-road section of Potash Road, and, we had passed a couple campgrounds.
At this point in time, it started getting really late in the afternoon.
Yes,
the sun was setting,
sucks.
and we were very concerned that we wouldn't find a campground before nightfall.
Yeah.
But this turned out to be a blessing in disguise because of that sandstorm. It had been so horrible, and the clouds had been so intense and had been so dark that now that it was moving away slightly and the sun was setting, we had the most incredible sunset rainbow. I've never seen anything like it in my life. We have to dig up that
panoramic picture because that was...
It's amazing. To get there, I mean, we were looking for a campground, so it's really kind of just nowhere. But we went along an area that had some train tracks, and there was like an old kind of rusted train sitting on the tracks, and it just looked very kind of Wild West. Yeah. And it was up on a ridge. And then as that rainbow, it was a double rainbow too.
It was a double rainbow.
As the rainbow was happening away from the sun was setting behind the trains, like illuminating the trains, and this incredible mesa cliff, red cliffs.
Everything turned into like the golden hour.
It was the most incredible thing.
It was crazy. It looked like El Dorado, the cliffs on the opposing side.
It was gold.
And then there's this double rainbow. and it's just like, wow,
Yeah.
this is, I'm usually not that emotionally attached to rainbows, but it was really, really cool.
And
It was
speaking of emotions, at that moment we were feeling a little bit.
high strung, to say the least.
Yes, it had been stressful going through all of that wind and the storm, and now we had to find a campground, and we didn't want to get like arrested for camping off of.
Well, not
the
even
main
arrested,
path,
but
and-
like, oh, now you can't go into national parks because you're, you
Yeah,
break
I mean
the laws.
anything, and we didn't want to break any laws, and their laws are there for a good reason.
No.
But we couldn't find anything, and we didn't want to pay an exorbitant amount of money. We were
No.
just kind of, it was a little bit of a stressful moment.
But we found.
that rainbow like made it all better.
And then after the rainbow, we
Yeah.
pulled into the next thing, and it was like a family
Yeah, it was like group camping.
group camping, but there was no one there. There was like one RV in the corner, and I was like, we can take advantage of the group.
Yeah, I mean, we were 4 people,
And it was
so
$20.
that's fine.
It was $5 a head, and
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is it.
Perfect.
They had a tin roof that we can set our stuff under.
It was right along the river.
It was right along the river.
You could hear the birds kind of fishing in the river.
We made our soups because a nice warm soup on a
Yes.
dark, cold night was very nice. And
Yeah, now it was night by the time
It was
we
definitely
were
night.
setting up camp, which is a rare occurrence for us, but has happened quite a bit this summer.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter because we had found a campground, we'd survived the sandstorm,
Yeah.
and we were really looking forward to the next day in which we would face our nemesis.
Schaefer's Pass.
Yes.
Yes.
So stay tuned. I hope you liked this episode. If you did, please give us a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below.
Ding, ding.
And we hope to be seeing you next time.
Peace, everybody.
Bye.
Stay safe. Stay safe.